and welcome to another episode of Your Next Favorite Movie. I am your host, Josh G. And today I am joined by Erica Wilson. Hello.
Hello. How
So
are you?
I am doing just fine. How about yourself?
Not bad.
So Erica has a gardening YouTube channel, and I'm not going to introduce it because I'm going to butcher the name. So I'm going to let her tell you the name of it. Go ahead.
It's French, so it's called Mon Jardin Au Coin, and it means my garden on the corner. So you can just say my garden on the corner.
My garden on the see if I'd known that I would have been able to pronounce that one, but there's no way in the world I'm going to get that French pronunciation right. So
it's okay. I probably don't even get it right anyway either. So
well, tell everybody a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I bought my house in 2019, and we were living in apartments before then, so didn't have too much opportunity to have space to garden. And so once I bought the house, I just kind of went crazy, and I started a Instagram page, I think like last May, and then I decided to go ahead and start doing YouTube videos, just kind of showing my adventures of what I do every day, or not every day, but most of the time in the garden, and things that I'm trying out. And, also to maybe help some people avoid making the same mistakes that I do, so it's fun.
Okay, so you mentioned you didn't have the room before, but was this like a passion of yours growing up? Like, did you do it with your mom or something, or how did you get into it?
No, I didn't really do too much with my mom. Maybe a little bit, like little tomatoes in pots or something like that, or strawberries. My granny had lived in town, and she of the town that I grew up in, and she had a little tomato patch that had peppers and things like that. So we'd go over there, and it was always pretty interesting. But just, yeah, through the years, I decided I'm like, I really want to grow my own food, or at least some of it, and just the idea of being able to share that with people as well. Because, the last couple of years I've had loads and loads of tomatoes and peppers and okra, and I'm able to give that to my friends and family, and they can have a nice little treat and everything. So.
Oh, very nice. Cool. All right. So say that name one more time. Like it's, how do you look it up?
Mon Jardin Au Coin. So it's spelled MonJardin AUCOIN.
Yeah, so I definitely would have pronounced that coin.
And you can find it on YouTube, my Instagram posts, Twitter, and I just started a TikTok page or TikTok account.
All of those are under that name?
Yep, all of them are under that name. And you can email me also at gmail.com, gmail.com. So okay. Everything's the same. Luckily, nobody took it. So
yeah. Yeah. All right. So you took me back with this, and I forgot to look up what year is this by 86. Does that sound
1986?
Right?
Yes.
Okay, and that's off memory because I forgot to look up the date.
I was 8 years old, to put a little perspective on that. So
okay. I hadn't seen this movie since the 90s when I rewatched it, and I was like, I kind of regret not watching it more. Like, this movie's so much fun. But yes, we're going to get into Jim Henson's Labyrinth. All right, so you were 8. So did you see this right away, like in theaters, or?
So I actually did not get to see it in the theater. I'm not sure why I didn't. Maybe there's no telling, but we didn't go to the movies that often, but we did do it here and there. But how I got to know of it is my cousins had cable. I didn't have cable, but they did. And I would go over there, and they had it recorded it from HBO or something like that. And so I want to watch that, but they always wanted to watch Mad Max. I grew up with all boys, by the way. I'm in the middle of 2 boys, all boy cousins. So they were always like, no, we don't want to watch stupid Labyrinth. Like, and so my uncle, it was great because he would be like, okay, I'm the deciding factor. And he would put both of the movies behind his back, and we'd have to choose. And he would always choose Labyrinth for me. So I think he felt bad for me. It was like, okay, you can watch your movie. It's fine. So yeah, but I loved it so much.
Okay, so for anyone that may not have seen it, tell everybody a little bit of what Labyrinth is all about.
Yeah, so it has Jennifer Connelly. So a lot of people know of her now. And of course, it has David Bowie. And it's Jim Henson, so it's going to have lots of puppeteering and a variety of those kinds of things, but it also had some visual, sort of like computer generated. It was sort of at the beginning of that, they pioneered that a little bit. But it's about a girl that she's supposed to be 16, and I thought Jennifer Connelly was 16 whenever she made that, but it turns out she was actually 14 when she made it, and David Bowie was in his 40s. So, but but it's about a girl that she likes to read, and she's into a lot of like fantasy type stuff, and she still does like playing kind of, I don't know, she recites this book that she's reading. That's how it kind of starts out. But to me, it's like she's on the cusp of growing up, but she doesn't really want to. She wants to kind of hold on to some of her childhood memories, but she's kind of being forced to grow up because her stepmom and her dad are like kind of like wanting her to do that. But I think it's kind of like her going into a dreamland and then kind of battling with that and finding out that things just happen the way they do and she can't help it but grow up, so I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Maybe other people have different thoughts on it, but I don't know.
So I guess, like you said, from young age, seeing it, it would pick it for you. So how early did you realize this was one of your favorite movies?
Oh, I think probably right away, just because I would always like, please, if we're going to my cousin's house, can I please watch this movie? Or maybe it was even a deciding factor of wanting to go to my cousin's house, So they've got Labyrinth.
So what are some of the reasons you keep coming back to this, that you keep choosing Labyrinth?
Part of it is the spectacle of the puppetry, and I just think that's so amazing that a lot of times it's people back there. I think the whole movie is people controlling that and stuff like that. You're going to a time when they didn't have CGI stuff, and they did this painstakingly by hand.
Yeah.
And in that Hoggle, it's like a smaller person, and she has like a mask on, and so like they had electronic, kind of like a remote where they were able to do that, which was cool. The other part is David Bowie. I mean, he's great. So you gotta appreciate him and his music, and I mean, he's a great actor too, so, and Jennifer Connelly's cool, but
she's there. She's all right. Okay.
Yeah. And going into a dreamland like that, I like things with time travel, and I think that this kind of falls under that umbrella of being somewhat of a time travel film. But yeah, the characters are fun.
Okay, so that makes me want to ask you this, and I don't know that I've ever seen this one, but they always kind of go hand in hand. Do you like The Dark Crystal as well?
I do like The Dark Crystal. It's been ages since I've seen it, but I was actually, to prepare for this, I was trying to I wanted to watch some stuff, some extra scenes on the Labyrinth, and the gentleman, I think his last name was Froud or something, but he was like the visual concepts guy for this. So he designed the costumes, the characters, and things like that, helped with the sets and everything. He was talking about, he had worked on The Dark Crystal with Jim Henson before that. And there was a lot into it. And he said that he's like, no, I'm done. I'm never doing any of that again. But then Jim Henson was like, how about we do this movie? I have some ideas. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure. So, but so it's kind of like The Dark Crystal, but with a little bit more sort of like lighter, like comedy, and the music and stuff like that. It's not so dark and quiet,
Okay. So maybe I need to go revisit that. Well, I don't know that I've ever seen it, so I shouldn't say revisit, because I'm not positive I've seen The Dark Crystal. All right, but keeping on track with Labyrinth, let's say you had gotten a sequel, whether you did it right back in the 80s with everyone, or you did one further into now, whichever way you want to take it. Okay. What would you like to see?
Could I go before the Labyrinth?
Like do a prequel?
A prequel?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a prequel that would lead to like after she basically says, well, spoiler alert, you have no power over me, to him. I'd like to go and see Gareth's, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting his name?
Jareth.
Goblin King. Jareth's like how his upbringing, like what is his dad like? There's got to be like a goblin, because he's the Goblin King, so surely he fell into the, it's like the bloodline. So so I would like to meet his parents, find out like how did, like why is he in the position that he is now, and maybe even them building the labyrinth, and see that, and then it kind of fast forward, there'll be like little bits of what happened, and then go into the future and show, what he's up to now and that kind of thing, maybe.
Okay, all right. Cool. And
need a little backstory,
Right, backstory on Jareth the Goblin King. And
yes,
I'm glad you brought him up specifically, because I got to tell you, watching this, every time I'd hear that Jareth the Goblin King, I just couldn't help but wonder if Tim Burton stole that with Jack the Pumpkin King, because I just keep thinking this, like,
I mean, you could see that Tim Burton could be heavily influenced by that, it's certainly possible. But please don't remake it, Tim Burton. We don't want nobody can replace David Bowie.
Oh, well,
we don't want that. We don't.
But you led me so perfectly to our next part, where we do get to talk about the dreaded remake. And if they were to do it, who you would put in some of these roles, whether Tim Burton's directing or not.
I don't think, I don't know. I don't think that should ever happen. There are some movies that just cannot be touched, some characters that cannot be touched. And I really, truly think that would just be, it would kill it for me. I would cry and maybe set up a petition and don't let this happen.
Oh, no.
Would you sign it? Because I need somebody to sign this to get it going.
Yeah, I would sign it. I would sign it, actually. Yeah, I would sign that to be behind that. Okay, no remake on Labyrinth. Not happening. What about like they did the Dark Crystal? They brought it back for a Netflix series. I didn't watch it, but because I haven't
seen it, so I'm not sure. Is Henson's son involved in that or anything like that? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't know. I remember hearing about it, but because I don't have the connection with Dark Crystal, it's not like I went and watched it, so I don't know much about it.
I'll have to look that up. I did see they rebooted Fraggle Rock. I haven't been able to.
I haven't seen that
watch
either.
That quite yet, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
It's so much to watch, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so here's what I want you to do then. I want you to give a final pitch to those people who maybe haven't watched Labyrinth on why they should take a chance and watch this movie. Features a lot of 80s puppetry. We'll say that.
Yes. Okay. Don't watch the trailer first, because you'll probably be freaked out, because some of it does seem a little odd if you're watching it for the first time as an adult. I will say it's kind of like watching Star Wars as an adult. You're like, some people don't appreciate it if you watch it for the first time. Just keep an open mind, and maybe it'll transport you back to maybe when you're a child, you're younger, and you want to hold on to certain things from your youth, and not grow up, I guess, a little bit. Not adult so much anymore. So, but yeah, it's Jim Henson. You can't go wrong. Lots of fun music from the 80s. So.
And a great David Bowie performance.
Yeah,
it's for sure. Every scene he comes on.
Yeah, he has a certain presence about him, for sure.
Yeah, can't deny that one. All right, Eric, I think that's going to wrap this up. Tell everyone once again where they can find you. YouTube, all the social media, all that good stuff.
Yeah, if you go to Instagram to Mon Jardin Au Coin, MonJardinAucoin, there's a link to my YouTube channel, but you can also find me on YouTube, and that'll also have all the information as far as finding me on TikTok, and emailing me if you have any questions on gardening or anything like that. And so, or you just want to say hi. Say hello. I love that.
Subscribe, hit the bell, yes, do all that.
Subscribe, good stuff, like, comment. I love comments, and I love replying back to everybody who watched. It's great.
All right, sounds good. And as always, you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at YNF Movie Pod. Easiest thing to do is just go to the link tr.ee/YNF Movie Pod. It's got Twitter, Instagram, all the podcast platforms, YouTube channel, my letterbox, so you can see what I'm watching that's maybe not on the show. And we'll be back next week. I'm not sure what's coming up next week, so I can't say what that'll be. But until then, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you next time.